Three friends, one amazing series of YA novels, an insatiable thirst to relive the glory that is K.A. Applegate's literary masterpiece. This is Fanimail, the Dork-Bajir Chronicles.
Hello and welcome to the Dork-Bajir Chronicles, a podcast where we read through the Animorphs series one book or TV episode at a time, then talk about it every week. Today we'll be talking about the Animorphs TV series. This is episode number 22, titled My Name is Erek. My name is Mikael, the host.
And I'm Brayden, the expert.
Yeah, and we got hung out to dry pretty hard on this one.
Unfortunately, Tessa couldn't make it. In the process of watching this particular episode, I think you'll all know the moment when we talk about it, but she seemed to become about 8 months pregnant all in a single second, screamed in what I can only describe as an airy yet brutalist sound, and then a skeletal metal vampire wolf burst out of her stomach. Doctors say she'll probably be walking again in 2 weeks, able to record, but until then, that wolf is on the loose. Doctors are saying it probably has hologram powers. So
Doctors are saying that, yeah.
Yeah, if you see anyone who likes dogs on the street, shoot them immediately. You can't take the risk. You have shoot to kill. Shoot to kill.
We never should have let her get married since the last recording, because it just all caught up with her all at once, including the gestation time of her hologram dog baby.
I don't think that was it. I think it just projected itself through the screen into the only adult fertile female that has ever watched this show in 18,000 years.
There's so much good, bad shit about this, but before we do, let's do some...
Fanimail! Ooh, yeah! Fanimail! Ooh, yeah!
First piece of fan mail comes from Toby Goldsteinholm on Facebook, who commented on our Animorphs number 39 episode, the Buffahuman episode, and explained to us in simple terms that we were completely wrong about the birds getting sucked into helicopters thing. Because remember, especially you and I, Brayden, came down pretty hard on this, how, there's no way birds can get sucked into helicopters. Apparently, it totally can happen. And has happened. I wouldn't say it happens all the time, otherwise they would have figured it out, I'm sure. But, yeah. He, I don't know his personal details, but he obviously has some contact with helicopters being flown often, or at least knows a lot about it. And, yeah.
He doesn't have some contact. He's a military helicopter pilot, is what he says.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. And I am also a military... No, I'm not, which is why I was 100%
Jesus Christ,
wrong.
Mikael. The guy's talking about a fucking... The guy's talking about a helicopter accident. Be less glib on our comedy podcast.
Yeah. In that conversation, I had a lot of the not grinning emoji, but the emoji where it's like you're sucking in air through your teeth. Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anymore people think it's a smiling emoji. Anyways, thank you for that, Toby, because I very much appreciate clarifications and corrections, because I know we are often wrong about a lot of stuff.
Our next piece of fan mail comes from Twitter at longtime fan Lego Rat at Lego Rats on Twitter, hashtag Animorphs at Dork-Bajir smiley face. And little, if you don't love me at my, then you don't deserve me at my meme with the, if you don't love me at my, the 2 issues of the Alternamorphs books, then you don't deserve me at my, and then the 3 books that consist of the David trilogy. So, yeah, fuck yeah, dude. Thank you, Lego. Thank you, Lego, who is a rat.
It's hard to say. I really like those books. I don't know if they're the best in the series, but I also don't want to say anything because you haven't read the rest of it yet. So
yeah,
Okay, let's jump into the summary, but first some specs about this episode. Directed by Don McCutcheon, which we've seen before, and Jeff Schechter was the writer, and this was released on September 10th, 1999.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah. Why don't you walk us through this episode, Brayden?
The Wikipedia summary is simply: the Animorphs witness a bizarre child with superhuman strength, who they soon discover is Erek, a member of the android race known as the Chee. Erek and the Chee need Jake and the other Animorphs' assistance to recover their hologram technology from the Yeerks, based on the android, narrated by Marco. Which is... let's just keep in mind here, none of the other Chee show up.
No.
So it's just Erek. We have no idea that other Chee exist. This episode opens with what is eventually revealed to be a dream sequence where Marco is running away from something and then is attacked by a full-on like Jurassic Park style raptor, which made me think like, oh, is this going to be a episode that follows Time of the Dinosaurs?
Mm-hmm.
Because like that can't be cheap to make a fucking raptor head like that. It didn't look cheap. I can't imagine.
I thought maybe it was actually a shot from a different movie. Like, they probably could steal it. It looked like stock footage of like a dinosaur coming at the screen kind of thing. I mean, regardless, it doesn't matter because it goes to the credits, and then what happens right after that? He
wakes up, and then I don't even think there's not even a hard and fast like wake up scene. He just decides to go to. Oh, he wakes up in the barn, and Axe is there, and he's become his completely irrelevant B plot involving Axe is that he's become obsessed with television, and he's got this mini TV that he is obsessed with getting more and more channels on, and he's doing yoga, and it's a real mess, Ma. It's a real mess.
It's bad. Also, for anyone like holding out for the dinosaur thing, yeah, there's no dinosaurs in this episode.
There's no dinosaurs.
That was a total like, I don't know what to call it. Like, it's not a call out to anything that's happened.
No. So eventually, Jake and Marco decide to try to see a movie called Conquest Galaxy. And when it's sold out, they turn into mice to try to sneak into the movie theater. An obvious homage to when they met Erek in the books and tried to sneak into a Offspring concert. I believe they actually succeeded in that. But they see a scene in, rather than the thing they see in the books, where they turn into spiders and like see through his legs and see him get clipped by a bus. They see Erek save a dog from a car. It's exactly like that one scene in Twilight where Vampire Boy jumps in front of runs really fast and stops a car to save girl.
Nice.
I swear to God, this was definitely like, it had to be a direct inspiration for the moment in the TV show, because in the movie, I mean, cribbed from this TV show.
You don't see anything, obviously. It just like cuts away and then cuts back and the car is wrecked. Also, I would like to point out the one part in the movie theater, the reason why they left without watching the movie is because they could not control their instincts, and so they jumped into this chick's fucking nachos on her lap.
Not good looking nachos either. Shitty looking nachos.
It takes some effort to make nachos look that unappetizing, because all you have to do is literally microwave Cheese Whiz for 30 seconds and that's it. That's perfect looking nachos right there.
I think they had to use fake nachos and like plastic cheese or something, because I was noticing that none of the goo cheese was like getting on these mice. They probably like weren't allowed.
Oh.
They probably,
for like animal rights reasons.
Yeah, they probably weren't allowed to like make them slog mouse knee deep through molten cheese.
You're not wrong. Yet another reason why live action makes no sense for this series.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't dunk the mice in the cheese. What's the point?
Eventually, they are Marco is swept up by a theater employee, and Jake is not. And then that thing with Erek and the car happens. They tell Cassie and Rachel, and for some reason, Cassie and Rachel. That's a thing that happens twice in this show that I didn't notice this episode. That I didn't notice until the second time when I noticed, like, wait, that doesn't make sense. Jake and Marco split off from Rachel and Cassie, or Cassie and Rachel split off from Jake and Marco on, like, a mission that they could use all four of them for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they don't explain it either. They're just like, oh, fuck, yeah, peace out.
Yeah. It has to be that it's so low budget, they literally can't afford to pay everybody enough. They get one more cast member, and Axe is relegated to a dumb little bit every 10 minutes of the episode, including just right at the ending, and they have to split up the main cast members.
Yeah.
It's
pretty much
incredibly dumb. But they find out about Erek. They turn into dogs and following him to a sharing event, and they realize he doesn't smell like a human. So, and then Erek actually follows them back and is like, so, you're the Andalite bandits. And they're like, what? What are you talking about? And he's like, it goes to a commercial break, and then he comes back, and it's like, it's cool. I'm an android. See? And he spreads his arms, and they do this really shitty flicker effect where the hologram drops, but not all the way for some reason. I guess because I guess maybe the android body effect they made was actually way shittier than even what we see.
That's exactly why. That's 100% why. Because I have paused it over that, and it's like what you can see. It's clearly like it's. I don't think it's a prop. I think it's like one of those early CG things where they like draw something essentially, and then just have it static image on the screen, and then they green screen him in and out of it.
Yeah, and it is fucking frightening.
It's pretty scary. It's like the fucking bunny from Donnie Darko.
Yes! It looks like a metallic, earless version of the bunny from Donnie Darko, complete with these huge fucking vampire fangs, like shark teeth. It is not at all what... If you described the Chee to me as just a race of androids created by a species of dogs to have fun... This is literally the last thing I would think about. I don't look at that like, and then he says, I'm programmed for pacifism. No, you're fucking not. You're programmed to maul things to death. I saw your fucking face.
Also, if he's programmed for nonviolence, the guy that hit him is super dead.
Yeah.
Like, you just killed someone to save a dog. So I don't know where the nonviolence part, like, plays into the car accident part. Yeah.
One thing I noticed around it... Oh, Erek explains his plan. The Yeerks have gotten their hands on a Chee hologram crystal, and they have some sort of plan with it, which we later find out is super boring. They're just gonna, like, make regular holograms of, like, places people would want to go, and then when they walk into them, they just grab them and dunk them in a pool, which is not great, because if they were doing it in, like, public, people would see people walk into the hologram and disappear.
And it has a very obvious effect when something goes through it, like ripples when things go through it.
Like Chapman tosses a brick at it, and it goes in. The test hologram they have. Anyway, it's at this point...
he tosses... Let's not forget, he tosses the fucking brick into a Yeerk pool.
Yeah, I kind of figured, like, there were no Yeerks inside, but I did have that initial, like, what? You definitely killed a bunch of people. You definitely killed a bunch of soldiers.
Okay, and also, this is not fair, but I assumed that the jacuzzi effect was from the Yeerks, like, roiling around, but...
Oh, yeah.
Now that I say that out loud, it definitely doesn't have to be the case.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways.
I always thought they were just hot, like, primordial ooze.
Or maybe they need, like, extra oxidation of the water because of whatever, blah. So, like, bubbles help with that, obviously.
Yeah, fair. Anyway, it's about this point, just a little nitpicky thing. I'm just sort of noticing, like, Cassie isn't actually in this series particularly unfashionable. Like, she's always got her hair in like a pretty sweet ass, like curly coif thing. Like, she's wearing almost exactly what Rachel is wearing. It's just a weird little thing that, like, I just noticed that somebody on the team that designed the costumes didn't really read the books.
I feel like it also, like, I don't know if this is true or not, but it's hard to have in a kid's show in the 90s a girl character who looks like a boy. Because Cassie did look like a boy. I mean, like, not in a bad way, that's just her thing, but...
I never thought that personally, but okay.
But I mean, like, if you look at her covers, like, she's got short hair, she doesn't wear clothes that are traditional, like, female teenager clothes. Mm-hmm. So... she kind of looks like a boy. I mean, again, it's not a bad thing, but in this show, they're clearly like, well, we don't want to make it confusing for children.
Yeah, good point.
Anyways, that's my explanation, at the very least, for her long hair. She does wear sometimes, like, overalls and stuff, but that was also kind of fashionable at the time.
Anyway, where the fuck were we? Oh, right. This is the point where Erek tells them that he needs his help to go check it out or something like that. And he just brings along, and this is that second time that it happens, he just brings Cassie and Rachel after, like, Axe does a bit where he, like, copies TV in a funny voice.
Yeah.
Axe has nothing to do this whole show until right at the very end, and it's the dumbest shit. They go to this place where they're keeping the Chee hologram crystal. They try to put together a plan, but then Rachel is like, no, I'm gonna go fuck shit up. And then you're like, oh, damn, she's going to run in there. And then she just becomes like a small monkey. Like one of those helper monkeys that wears a diaper that like Ross has on Friends.
Yeah. Which we don't ever see her acquire or...
Oh, by the way, the reason Erek needs their help is because in this universe, I don't know if this is established in the books, but she can't touch the hologram crystal because it messes with their own technology. It creates like feedback or something and it can hurt them.
Which I guess is like, makes sense as a plot device. Like, why can't the Chee just do everything?
Yeah.
In the books, I liked it a bit better where it was like, no, it was like he was scared of what he was capable of with it. But also in the books, it wasn't a hologram crystal, I guess. It was a just straight up crystal.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It was like the basis of their JavaScript or their C++.
Yeah, and the thing, like, I honestly think that the hologram crystal makes more sense because, like, typically holograms are not power sources; they're like storage devices, right? So the idea that it would have like scripting or source code of some kind for holograms, or like really good holograms, because obviously the Yeerks already have some holograms. Like that makes sense to me. The one in the book where it's just like, it unlocks my full potential. It's like, I don't understand. Like, is it in the books as like a key that like it's the user code or something like that?
It's like a jailbreak, you know? Like jailbreaking an Android or an iPhone, I guess. Like it's whatever technology or it contains whatever technology or programming the designers of the Chee would use to like probably, you know, go into power down mode or whatever to reprogram an already awake Chee or what have you.
Which like only raises even more questions about the software that runs the Chee, because presumably there have been updates, right? But if that crystal is from whatever 5,000 years old or something, it wouldn't work. Like you can't use the iPhone or the iOS 6 jailbreak app to jailbreak an iOS 10 phone, right?
I guess, but like the Chee, they can't hack themselves. They probably haven't been updated in years.
Well, they do though, because they have that adaptive technology that, remember where he's like, I made a cage inside of my head for the Yeerk?
Right.
Mind you, that doesn't mean that it was a software update. That might mean that they already knew how to do that. But I don't know. I mean, we're picking this apart to the point where like it doesn't matter, because in the show it's literally just like the monkey steals the crystal.
Yeah, the monkey steals the crystal. There's a bit of a hubbub where like pretty typical Animorphs action scene where there are some animals that are apparently attacking human controllers, but they're obviously never in the same shot. Erek does a little bit of a cool little switcheroo where he distracts some of them by yelling, "Help, help, help me." And then holograms himself into a garbage can. The controllers run behind a door. Erek does that cool little thing, gets them behind a door, slams the door, and then quote unquote, ties it shut with a rebar. Like
that was cool, actually. Like the prop they used was not beyond shitty. Like it did actually look like rebar. The sound effect wasn't really on point, but I think it worked. Where are we? He did the rebar.
Yes, he did the rebar. And then also in typical Animorphs TV fashion, they just end up running away
through a forest.
In typical Animorphs TV fashion, they are running away from a bunch of controllers in human morph as Axe is back at the barn, realizing he's late while watching a cooking show. It's really dumb.
It's really dumb.
And then they meet him in the woods, which they're running away from them in human morph. They could turn into dogs or something. We know in the TV show it only takes 2 seconds. Or they could turn into their bird morphs and just fly away.
Yeah, because they can carry the crystal in so many different animal forms.
Yeah. But instead they have to risk, because budget, they have to risk being caught up to even a little and somebody recognizing look, they're humans and I know who those humans are. I go to Jewish church with them.
Jewish church? Wow, PC. I like it. There's also and I know this is a minor thing, but the controllers that are chasing them, the guy obviously they show the what's coming kind of shot of the controllers running through the woods, and the guy in the front, this poor extra, damn, he runs like a total rube. His fucking arms up in front of his chest, it looks like he's jogging kind of, but when people don't know how to jog and they keep their hands really stiff. Yeah. Anyways, shout out to that guy. Then we get a pretty great technology scene, if you want to call it that.
Yep. Axe runs in with duct tape. It's just a big backpack made of duct tape and some 90s ass looking pieces of plastic. There is a tube on the front. He turns a crank. They put the crystal in the tube and then try to turn it on, but it's not working. So Erek grabs the crystal while saying, "You have it in backwards," and then turns it around. For a second, we see the shitty effect again where he becomes the scary monster Erek.
This time it's a profile, though, and not a head-on. It's pretty terrible, honestly.
Yeah.
And when he's turning that crank, when Axe is turning this crank, which is literally just a fucking piece of that game Mousetrap. It's spinning this thing. And then there's this satellite dish, this mini little satellite dish on clearly what was connecting it to this fucking spinning thing. And then it's just and it spins in a circle as if it's scanning for things. Oh God.
I'm losing my mind. I'm losing myself as we speak this aloud. They put the crystal in not backwards, and the machine makes them all in not hologrammed away. And then the Yeerks run through where they clearly were when they went invisible.
Yes! That drives me insane. It would have been so easy to not do this.
Yeah.
Oh my God. The fucking controllers run through the exact literal spot where they were standing.
And then,
which the hologram wouldn't make them like immaterial. So
yeah. And then, and that was when I realized, actually last year, I died in a fishing accident, and I'm actually in hell right now.
it's not far off.
Yeah. Yeah.
We didn't even see like a ripple effect as the controllers like moved in and out. Come on, some continuity, please. Also, I just noticed that the thing that Axe is holding, the button to like start the hologram, it's actually like 4 C batteries like taped together with a button on the outside.
I didn't even notice that. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't register batteries anymore.
That's a good point. C batteries especially are incredibly rare. That's that was one step up from the AAA, and it was like for remote control cars exclusively, pretty much. I don't think there's much for Denouement after that, though.
No, yeah, they say bye to Erek. Erek says, "I'm actually fine after touching the crystal," and then leaves. And then they have a gag where Axe is like, "I'm not gonna watch TV anymore. Real life is so much more satisfying." And then he puts his TV in the garbage, and then Marco's like, "I'll turn on that TV," and he flicks it on, and then they see like Conquest Galaxies. We're gonna show some clips, and then him and Jake hog the TV while Cassie and Rachel are like, "Let us watch it. You fuck." I feel at any given time they've actually filmed like 5 different episodes of Animorphs and then just spliced together what they thought looked good. And this was an episode where they were going to teach Axe about not watching so much TV. This was an episode where they were going to teach Marco about facing his fears or something. I don't know. And they were going to teach the whole team some vague lesson about, like, you know, that classic, like, 90s sitcom trope where, like, so the boys and the girls in a small friend group are, like, butting heads in some, like, you know, sort of pissing contest.
Yeah, and I think there were like, the reason why TV is bad is because it distracts you from Animorphs missions, which is like, what? That's okay. Because I guess you can't outright say on a TV show, like, you know what, TV's fucking bad for you. It's like, but also, don't stop watching our channel where you're watching this show. Yeah,
it's like that one, the House Hippo commercial.
Oh yeah. Where it's like, don't believe everything you see on TV or whatever.
Yeah, or like the humanoid TV who's like, "Hey, I can't go outside and play. You should go outside and play."
Wait, I don't remember that. What happens in that one?
Oh, it's just like a TV. It's like an animated 3D TV. It like talks to you and is like, "Hi, I'm Ralph the TV," or something like that. And it's like, "Hi, I'm Ralph the TV, and I can't go outside. There's lots of cool stuff on TV, but you know what's even cooler? Actually going out and experiencing the world."
Yeah, I could. That sounds like a kid, like a panderingly kids commercial type thing. I wonder if those people know that the kids are just like desperately waiting for the commercial to be over.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. The only commercials worth watching more than once is if there was something like visually interesting about it, or it's actually funny. So like the House Hippo one, I actually didn't mind watching that one a bunch of times because it was kind of amazing, especially for the era, to see the Photoshop done, right?
Oh, yeah.
But like, don't you put it in your mouth? Oh my God. It was so long. I got so sick of that so fast.
The way I watched a bunch of shows that I watched was I would pre-record them because I would be out of the house for a lot of the time, so I would like record episodes of Dragon Ball Z and stuff.
That's DVR, baby.
Yeah, including the commercials on VCR.
Oh, definitely.
So I would not only experience a lot of the same commercials at different times, I would also experience the same commercials at the same time when I wanted to rewatch like when I wanted to rewatch like not Animorphs. I never watched Animorphs. When I wanted to rewatch Dragon Ball Z or whatever.
Meaning like you were switching to the TV station when the commercials on the VHS were on and then switching back?
No, I would just not bother fast forwarding.
Oh, because you're just like into the commercials.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. I'm trying to think of like better commercials, and there wasn't a whole lot. There was that Schoolhouse Rock, which ended up being like kind of a commercial, like commercial in length. That was pretty good. I think that's kind of it for this episode. Not this episode of the podcast, but of this TV series episode.
Yeah.
Because like,
there's not much to say.
Well, I mean, there's one thing we haven't talked about, which is Erek's aesthetic. Or lack of it, I guess.
Yeah, lack thereof, really.
Because at one point he's like, oh, Marco, I try not to stand out. And he's got like fucking the ugliest, oiliest, nastiest frosted tips I've ever seen. Well, that's not frosted tips. It's like when people peroxide their hair halfway and then it grows out 3 weeks later, but only like the first 2 inches of your roots are dark. And the rest is this like shitty bleach blonde kind of. Was that cool? I feel like that was never cool.
That's a good question. I don't know. I wouldn't describe myself as awake in the 90s.
Well, I guess, yeah, because you were born in the 90s. So there's also lack of actual long-term memory. That's fair. I see, I am older than you, and I definitely was old enough to be like looking at people who were this age and noticing what they're wearing, and I don't remember because this whole thing is like he wears a long sleeve tee, and then on top of that he wears a sports jersey, which is not something I remember.
Layers were big in the 90s, but not so much. It was definitely like it was a soccer jersey, specific like football. It was a football jersey, so. It might have seemed exotic. It might have seemed European.
I feel like if you were trying to blend in the 90s, you would wear literally what Jake wears in this show, which is just like t-shirts. The only thing missing from Jake's outfits from this series is like logos. Because fuck, the 90s was full of logos on everything, which obviously you can't do in a TV show. But yeah, I hated it. I think Marco dresses a lot nicer than Erek does. And that's saying something because Marco dressed like he's going to a fucking Latino club after school every day. So, also, what is your working theory for the dinosaur thing at the beginning?
I mean, I assumed that it was going to be an episode based on Time of the Dinosaurs. So my working theory right now is they were going to make a Time of the Dinosaurs episode, decided not to, but wanted to use the prop anyway, or they're going to make a Time of the Dinosaurs episode sometime in the future, realized their Dork-Bajir toy isn't threatening or like wicked enough to like show off, and so they just went with the raptor one they already built.
Do you think that there was like a plot line at some point where like the Yeerks were using the crystal to like program velociraptor holograms and scare people or something? And then like that was what that shot was from?
I don't know. He's not. Is it? Let's look at the costume. The costume that Marco is wearing. I mean, clothes. We know it's a costume out of context, but what did they? Was that? Did he wear that at any point in this episode?
Yeah. It's just his blue button up that's like open in the front with a white t-shirt underneath. I think he's wearing that. No,
he's wearing like a cream gray t-shirt.
Okay. I mean, I feel like white is pretty close to cream gray, but
okay, fair.
Yeah. I mean, are you saying that he doesn't wear a cream gray t-shirt at some point during this episode? I think it's hard to tell because it's like pretty shitty, like fucking 20 FPS, but yeah. I think his sleeves are rolled up actually in the dream. And then at the end, in the final scene, he's wearing a fairly ugly fake camo button up. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Because he's not wearing the same clothes that he was when he woke up.
I don't think he's wearing the same thing that's ever... I don't believe that he's wearing something that he ever wore at any other point in the series.
I think he wears it. The scene where Erek picks him up and he's like, "You bitch, I'm stronger than you." He's wearing a blue shirt and a gray t-shirt.
Okay.
You know what? It's different though. It's just a coincidence. It's got a pattern on the front. And we've now sleuthed out that... I don't know. What did we sleuth out? I don't know what we just proved, actually.
We were going in looking for anything rather than going in looking for something.
Okay, that's a good way of saying it. Yeah, I get you. Yeah. I mean, obviously there's just some fuck up on whether it was the director trying to do something. You know, like a director uses like a Dutch angle, like a crooked angle, and it feels like really out of place in a
yes,
whatever. I'm thinking of Stranger Things. There's a part near the end of the 3rd season where like there's a guy that they theorize afterwards was on drugs, but in the conversation with him when he's like yelling, they use just Dutch angles the whole time, like the crooked angle. And it's like really unsettling because they never do that in the rest of the series, as far as I know. It felt like one of those things where like the director of that particular episode was like, "I'm gonna put my flair on it, bitches.
I'm the Dutch angle guy."
Yeah.
They're gonna get me to make the sequel to Battlefield Earth.
Was there a lot of Dutch angles in that one?
Yeah. It's that one sci-fi movie with
John Travolta?
John Travolta. Yeah, it's a sci-fi where John Travolta plays the villain, and it's based off an L. Ron Hubbard book.
It looks really bad.
Oh my god. You have no idea. And it's just a huge number of Dutch angles.
It's like I get that there is a point at some point. There is a point at a certain point when you're filming where it's like, okay, the only way to communicate that this is like jarring or supposed to be jarring is to use a Dutch angle. But like, it doesn't just make every scene scary. It makes it look like you're drunk when you're watching it. Anyways, I don't know why I'm going off such a fucking rant on Dutch angles, but directors, use your shit properly. Also, the choice to just like have the raptor thing at all. It's literally 10 seconds of the episode. It could have been Marco having a flashback. They could have used B-roll, or like not B-roll, but old footage from an old episode, and of him like in a perilous situation where he just wakes up. Even cheaper.
Yeah.
The dinosaur represents the ancientness of the Chee. Yeah.
The dinosaur represents Marco's nascent bisexuality because it is both a bird and a reptile.
The dinosaur represents Marco's relationship with his mother because it has teeth and he's scared of his mother, and his mother's a woman and vagina dentata. No. All right. It's not terrible.
No, it's not terrible.
But it's pretty bad, but not terrible. So next week we're going to watch an episode called The Front. What's your predictions for that?
Predictions! I found the video already on the YouTube the YouTube paid section. I looked at the preview, and there's a dude with shitty colored, like I think the modern parlance is like gamer shades, and like a collarless button shirt and like a big gold medallion on a chain. The episode is called The Front. So my theory is that some sort of trendy store, probably owned by a guy named like Friedrich or Gustav or something like uncomfortably not white, like Jamal, they have a store that is selling something trendy that is a front for yeark implantation.
My prediction is that the Animorphs are going to like encounter a group of flat earthers, and the earthers are going to be like, y'all have been living on the back this whole time. And it turns out that they've been living on the bottom of flat earth. and it's actually only been like alien technology keeping their gravity on, and then they have to save the gravity machine because the Yeerks are going to wreck it. And then at the end they go to the top, the front, and it's like heaven, like clouds and I don't know, infinite quarters for your shitty arcade games. Well, anyways, you can find more of our stuff on our podcast page at collectivelegacy.org or on Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, Facebook, MySpace, Friendster, Bandcamp,
Foursquare.
Oh, Foursquare is good.
Remember to subscribe on iTunes and Foursquare or wherever you get your podcasts, including Foursquare, or else you'll have to remember Foursquare.
You can show your support by checking in on Foursquare at our Patreon page, patreon.com/DORKBAJIR.
We offer special bonuses for patrons like access to our Discord server, Animorphs essays written by us, and much, much more. Foursquare.
Nice. We like to give a Foursquare to our patrons at the Foursquare level or higher by giving them a Foursquare style title. I'd like to give a big shout out to Spencer, the upper left square.
Big shout out to Martha Urquhart, the top right square.
Big shout out to Anne-Marie Ellis, the bottom left square.
Shout out to Nick, the bottom right square.
Michael Armenta, the zooming out, and there's another square quadrant on top of it, and he's the top left square of that one.
Shanna, the top right square of that quadrant.
Zachary Vaudo, the bottom left square of quadrant 2 square.
Andrew Vila, the zoom in, the bottom right square is again cut into its own 4 squares.
Fucking hell. Greg De La Posta, within the top left square, there's a circle, just because he's gotta be different.
Mariah Wamby, wait a minute. That circle and that square have the exact same volume? Is that the one? Circumference? Area.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's happened.
And Yanka, the collapse of mathematics as we know it, upon realizing the square and circle have the same area.
Elemist, the rebirth of a new math.
Steam Driven, the firstborn in the 16 square universe.
Now I'm just imagining patron Elemist giving birth to patron Steam Driven.
Wait, that didn't happen? For the Fanimorphs, my name is Mikael, the center square.
And I'm Brayden, the over square.
And this has been Foursquare, the Foursquare Chronicles. Foursquare. Not sponsored by Foursquare.
How many fucking Foursquare jokes can we make? Like, that was like 2 square minutes of Foursquare jokes.
Yeah. You know what? You're fucking welcome, Foursquare. You could use the help. I mean, shit, I haven't heard anyone talking about Foursquare in 4 Okay, I'll stop.
What do you want to eat right now? Jinx.
I'm Mitch.
And I'm Sophie. And this is
We Watch Food,
a podcast all about the food we like to watch.
We'll talk all about the best, the craziest, and the tastiest TV, movies, and YouTube channels.
Not to mention trendy food fads and sumptuous food trivia.
Plus, we end every episode with a recipe from one of us.
So join us every Saturday for a new episode and a new insight into what makes us watch so much food.
You can find us at collectivelegacy.org, as well as a bunch of other awesome podcasts.
Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at We Watch Food.
And on Twitter at We Watch Food Pod. So I've been Mitch.
I'm Sophie.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Brought to you by
Collective Legacy,
a podcast network.